alike. So why is the war? Why do we fight? There's one sea, one sky, one earth. So you and I gotta learn to live together. When one hurts, when one needs, we all gotta learn to live together. Peace, make peace, make peace, peace. Alright, isn't it time to stop dying? Isn't it time, mother, stop crying? Stop the fighting and the hate. We gotta make peace before it's too late. There's one sea, one sky, one earth. So you and I gotta learn to live together. When one hurts, when one needs, we gotta learn to live together. Peace, in peace, in peace. Alright. One loves, everyone cries. Round the world we're all alike. So why is the war? Why do we fight? There's one sea, one sky, one earth. So you and I gotta learn to live together. When one hurts, when one needs, we all gotta learn to live together. Peace, make peace, make peace, peace. Alright, isn't it time, brother, stop dying? Isn't it time, mother, stop crying? Stop the fighting and the hate. We gotta make peace before it's too late. There's one sea, one sky, one earth. So you and I gotta learn to live together. When one hurts, when one needs, we gotta learn to live together. Peace, in peace, in peace. Alright, make peace, peace together. Peace. It's gonna be interesting, folks. What's coming up? We shall see. Here it happens. Okay. Yeah, they skip so fast. Nope. I guess I'm having trouble with YouTube. It's giving me problems again. Here's what happens, folks. Okay, going to come back in here. Thank you guys for joining me on the Facebook chat room as well as the YouTube chat room.
I am here in the chat room, and yes, we're here. It's it's going to be a not night. It is Halloween, yes, and also Diwali night. A lot of the South Asians people are celebrating Diwali, and tonight they're blowing off fireworks and they're blowing up buildings all across the world. In some places, they're cleaning it up, so to speak. So there's so many explosions going everywhere, as I guess we say, where you go, there's explosions and floods and crazy rain and you name it. It's happening everywhere. And that's how it all works, folks. We are dealing with a lot of caca. You know what I mean? It's nuts. Anyways, tonight it's a special night because we're getting close. Remember the 5th of November, right? The 5th of November, the gunpowder treason and plot. I know of no reason why the gunpowder treason shall ever be forgot. It's coming close. And the reason why I share this with you, because they're talking about right now as we speak, the ending. And you can hear the explosions outside if you do catch it. But we do have a lot of explosions in the neighborhood. And some of the guys go extreme. They're really close to our neighborhood area, and some things get so bad it sounds like a boom, and scares the crap out of our dogs. If anybody's got dogs out there, so make sure you keep an eye on them because you don't want them to run into a fire or trying to hurt themselves, or even run away. So right. Anyways, yeah, here we're here, and I know I don't expect to have a lot of people in the chat room this evening because we're probably helping all the ghouls and goblins and kids coming to the door. Watch your fruits and vegetables; those are actually receiving the gifts from other homes. The old-fashioned way, which was actually they used to stick needles and apples and razor blades in there and all that sort of thing. I'm not here trying to influence you guys if it actually has never been spoken about before. But when I was young, back in the 60s and 70s, 60s, when I was a kid, those rumors did come out there, and they were talking about putting razor blades and apples and needles and pins, you name it. I've never come across really anybody gotten hurt, but again, my mother used to always be cautious about it. All the parents need to be cautious about it. And I know full well they do have a lot of kids that will go through malls or other stores and they'll get their candies and whatever have you, gifts from other businesses. So they're not always going out there, going to places that they don't know unless they trust their own neighborhood, which is great. But yeah, this is how things work out, right? So we're here, and we got a lot to talk about this evening because basically, number one, most people are actually worried about many things out there, and that is the first of all Halloween. Well, Halloween actually is the witching hour, and is truthfully is the witching hour. A lot of people actually who do practice um, even black witchcraft. Okay, and they're really dark way, and they actually do their thing to see if they can disrupt the energy and to make people fearful, scared, and also to you do get a lot of paranormal investigators out there on the Halloween night, see if they can raise a little cane, so to speak, and or even there were psychic parties. People do psychic parties on Halloween, which I actually did too, and I had some pretty phenomenal. I actually did one quite a few years ago. I was dressed up as I guess you'd say Johnny Carson's character one time. The guy, he would look like a big hat, big round hat, look like um, the Great was it the Great Gazan or something like that. I can't figure out his name now. And Johnny Carson would read these. He would ask, I guess, the Ed would actually ask him a question, then he would take a piece of paper and fold it out and answer it on paper. So, anyways, it was a funny character, and I thought it was kind of cool to dress up like him. So I made an outfit like that, and I did a psychic party. And that night was quite interesting because I was doing readings for people upstairs in the very top floor in the attic of this haunted house, and it was fun. A lot of people were having a great time. And then I decided to take a break. So I went downstairs and went to the washroom, walked around, talked to a few people, and then I came back upstairs. As I'm walking upstairs, like a bit of a 30-degree angle, so to speak, and it's straight wood stairs to walk up to the top. And as I got to the top, I can see a pair of brown loafers, like as in the old shoes, brown shoes with holes in them, the little tiny pinholes. And they're actually at the tip of the edge of the stairs. And I thought, oh, it must be somebody up there. As I walked up to the top, as I looked over, there was nobody upstairs. So that was the ghost. I found out it was the ghost of the man who actually once owned the house. Yes, folks, I did see him. And he is apparently, what I found out later, that his wife, he built this room specifically for her. And when his wife passed away before she did, and she actually, that was her art room. She used to do a lot of art, and she was an artist, and she did a lot of painting and artistry. So that was her special room that he built for her. And I guess that's where he went, and he passed away there upstairs in that room. I guess he passed away from a broken heart. So I had the opportunity to work out of the very same room and did readings for people in that room, and the energy with him. He was a soft-spoken man, nice fellow. His energy was not scary. I mean, it was nice. I loved it. I didn't mind him. He didn't mind me, and he knew I saw him. So yeah, I go through my connection with people in spirit. I wasn't even afraid. I was wanting to know more about him. So yeah, anyways, we had a lot of fun doing that at the time. But talking about this too, people may not realize that when you got the witching hour messing with people, okay, especially on Halloween, and sure, some other countries, some people celebrate Halloween one day ahead because you're in a different part of the world, but still you're in that same vibration. At least good 24 to 48 hours is vibrated completely, strictly on Halloween, or they call All Hallows Eve. And yes, it is known as the witching hour. And many women, and as well as men were never called warlocks. I don't know who Hollywood called that. Hollywood never, actually, Hollywood called men warlocks. They were never warlocks. They were all known as witches as well. So you do get your Hollywoodism of it, and then you got your true witchcraft. And I dealt with a couple of real bad witches. I cannot say bad witches, but some people that were practicing a very bad way. And one young lady tried to, I guess they tried to hurt me because she knew of my abilities. And she stood in front of my house. I may have may share some of the stories with you guys, but I'll share with you others that have not heard the story. But she came to my house, and she was boasting about her powerful witchcraft. Like she felt she was more powerful than me. And I didn't challenge her whatsoever. I was busy working outside in my front yard and cleaning it up. And she's, I know about you. I know who you are. She goes, and I'm more powerful than you. She says, because I'm a witch. And I said, well, good for you. And I said, what makes you think you're more powerful than me? Just asking her. And she says, because our witchcraft is much more powerful than what you do. When you talk to the spirits, you talk to the ghosts, and blah, blah, blah. She figures she was more powerful than me. And I said, well, good for you, right? She goes, I'll prove it. I said, okay, fine. That night, after I was actually falling asleep, and then I started noticing that I was in one of my dreams, I was getting chased by a woman with white hair, long white hair, and she was dressed up like a witch, right? Trying to chase me around, like as if I should be afraid of her. And I'm running around thinking, why am I hiding from her? That's bullcrap. And I just turned around and said, no. And I turned around and I said, no, you can't hurt me. You cannot touch me. And I said, if you want to challenge me, go for it. And she goes, I can destroy you. She said, no matter what. And I thought, okay, fine. I'll teach you a lesson. So my high consciousness actually sent me to another level, another dimension. And I actually met up with, I saw 3 old ladies sitting on a stump, like wooden stumps. They were sitting facing this fire. Now, the fire itself was not a regular common fire. It is a white fire. It is pure white fire. And they're staring into it like this. And I was standing behind them. And I said to the witches, I said, did you send that woman after me to cause me trouble? They said, no, we don't know who she is. I said, well, she claims herself to be a witch. She thinks she's just like you. And they said to me that, no, she doesn't. She's not one of us. And I said, well, you better fix it. If you don't, I'm coming after you guys. So they said, okay, we'll take care of it. Now, that morning I woke up, things are fine. I decided to go outside and work in the yard, few hours later, this young girl shows up on my front yard. Same young lady, but this time she was crying. I mean, literally crying. But she didn't have her hands down by her side. She like this, and she was just really upset. Like she had shaken and she was scared. She looked like she was scared and she was crying, like just crying. But she stood in front of my house crying, and she's holding on to her head. So I looked at her. I said, "Is there something wrong? Are you okay?" And she goes, "No." And she just turned around like this. She goes, "No." And I said, "Well, what happened?" And and then she goes, "I don't know." She says, she says, "Something happened to me after I woke up." And I said, "What's the matter?" She goes, "My hair fell out. Look." And I said, "Well, because," I told her what happened. I said, "You sent them after me. I sent them back at you. And they taught you a lesson. You don't mess with me." And her hair literally was out of her hair. It's falling out of her head. Now, did it come back? Yeah, I grew back later. But I said, this is a lesson you need to learn. You don't mess with people that know what to do. And I'm not seeing myself with that I'm better than anybody else. But if I understand the other inner world, because I've been around it since I was a child, and you have to respect it. And if, I know I have God with me, watching over me, and there's people out there going to practice anything you want, I couldn't care less. But as long as you're in the God light, you can, if you're not meant to hurt anybody, you're not meant to hurt anybody. There's people out there still trying to hurt people, thinking that they're dumb, that they have a I guess I say powerful force, and they try to use their ego and try to make themselves, some guys will stick out their chest like, I'm the only one in this room, and I go like, good for you. But I've never ever put anybody down thinking that they're not better than me. I just said, whatever you do, but don't disrespect your skill. Don't treat it like as if you're powerful. I mean, it's wonderful to be gifted. If you want to help people, wonderful. But you're not meant to hurt anybody with it. You're supposed to help people with it, right? So, but again, we got some people out there that do this. They like to descend and have cause trouble. Well, that's their problem, not mine. Anyways, there are people coming in the chat room as well as on YouTube. Thank you guys too for being there. And those on Facebook. Yeah, like I said before, not expecting a lot of people. Nice to see Wendy in the chat room. I've seen you in a long time. All the way from Australia. Tina, thank you guys for being there. Let's see who else we got in the chat room. Eagle Child, yes. Heidi. And so people coming in. It will be a slow night, I know that, because a lot of people are busy out there celebrating Halloween with other people. Now, what I want to bring up also too is tonight, everybody's talking about the big blackout. Okay. Now I mentioned to you guys about this before, and we're still going to have the blackout. It's going to happen. I know it is, but we have to wait until the 5th of November. Right now, first of all, let's work up to the 5th of November. Okay. So the 5th of November is all to do with when he kept on saying, remember the 5th of November, the gunpowder treason and plot. I know of no reason why the gunpowder treason should ever be forgot. Now, this has been going on since the time it was written by the man who actually wore this mask, who created this mask. Back in the early 1600s, even earlier, there's many people that were still fighting against treason and bad people. And this man was pretty well on his own most of the time, and then there's other people that joined in after. But the thing is, he was never forgotten because he was seen as a hero. But also he was fighting against tyranny. And that's what this whole thing was about, to fight against tyranny. And again, you have your royal family, that they were the bad ones. That's the reason why he was against them, because they weren't pure. They were not nice people. You thought the queen and the king, the royal families were fun people, nice people. Not entirely. That's the mainstream media that actually used to make them look good. But they never really showed off enough of their power, so to speak. Early years before that, yes, back in the 17th, 18th century, 19th century, they try to use their power to control the public, control the media, and control the citizens of the countries. But again, it became to the point where people said enough is enough, right? We don't know much about the things, how they practice, unless you were unless there were people that actually that were there and actually were able to tell the story, and there were the whistleblowers to say, these people were not as nice as you think they were. You saw them in public to look like nice people, but they're not as nice people. I've had people out there right now to this day that are is that the queen was once a rep, okay, and with ones that looks green. Well, yes, we know that, but I knew that he wasn't, and I wasn't in shock. And he said, "You're not in shock?" I said, "No, I know all about it. I've known about this since I was young." But he says, "Well, then how come I heard about it?" I said, "You didn't just hear about it. You were probably learning about it now because you weren't prepared to listen to the truth. You were prepared to, because a lot of people out there, they keep on saying, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. I want to walk away. And that's exactly what they do. They don't want to hear always the truth. All they want to hear is puppies and kittens. I mean, that's what happens. Or if you want to talk about somebody's job that they're working on, some project, that's all you're going to get. If that's all you want to watch, that's all you're going to see. If you want to watch cartoons, that's up to you. But you're going to find out the truth. And I also said, too, Canadians are very lazy. A lot of times the Canadians will always trust their government no matter what. Okay? They trust their government. And the reason we trust their government because they believe that the government won't do harm to them, which I think is a crock. So you'll see my friend in there in the background. That's my friend Alien. I made this guy. Lift it up a little bit more there so you see him. Good. Anyways, bring back down. And so he sits in the background and watches. Anyways, so we're here and now. It is October 31st, and actually is also the birthday of my old friend the late Barbara Leonard. She was also, those out there also say happy birthday to all you guys, or happy born day to all you October 31st babies. Wendy says Australians are lazy too. Well, the thing is that you when you elect people, when you elect politicians, you're believing that they're going to help you. You thought, okay, they're so sweet, they're so nice. Okay, they're going to help us. You find out later they're not helping you worth a crap. They're making lots of money off of you. With our tax dollars and all that, we hand over to them, and they're the ones that actually help create the wars. Because the only way they're going to make money is during a war. That's how they're going to make money. They don't make money non-profiting. They make money to profit. And they use our money, our tax dollars, to hand over to other countries to create more wars. That's how it is, right? And so our Canadian Prime Minister, he handed over millions of dollars to the Ukraine to keep a war going. Justin Trudeau even handed over a whole bunch of military equipment to the Ukraine so they can go to war against Russia. Well, guess what, folks? Russia, they retaliated, but you don't mess with Russia. Russia didn't come down to invade Ukraine. Never did. So Ukraine attacked Russia. If you look at it carefully, Putin just sat there and going like, "Why are you attacking us?" And then and Ukraine kept saying, "We want those kids." No, you can't have those kids. Those kids belong to Russia because you kidnapped them, you stole them, so we brought them back home. So what Ukraine does is make up stories thinking that they kidnapped them. They did not kidnap them. Those kids are Russian, and they went back to home to their families. There's lots of them that were taken. I mentioned that before in previous shows. Anyways, including all this, for November the 5th, okay? As of now, I've got some videos here and some pictures. There are some people that are causing trouble in the States as well as Canada, and they're trying to create, I guess it's called conflict of interest with the citizens, and they're trying to pass so many new laws, and yet they're trying to pass a lot of laws. They haven't passed them all yet, but they're going through different levels of section 1, 2, and 3, and they say we want to get it voted in. They're trying to vote in number 1 here in Canada. They want to vote in that they want us to get or to continue on for us to be how do you say it? Snake bitten. Okay. They want more snake bites. But this time they're saying that if you don't get snake bites, don't get food, you go and don't get to shop, you can't have this, you can't do this, you can't travel, you can't do nothing. They want to lock you down. And so this is what I tell people. Don't capitulate. Don't work with them. You don't have to do that. Stand your grounds, but you have to stand your grounds with the public. Wendy says, I just got a Facebook warning about my last comment. Yep, I know. You know what happened with Facebook with me? They're actually reducing viewers in my videos. They want to reduce viewers because they said that I am conflict of interest as well. Basically, they don't agree what I'm talking about. And I told them this straight up, guys. Here are the numbers, and I brought this up. I'll bring it up to you guys to see on the screen. Let's do that. Okay. This is absolute truth. There you go. The executive order 13818, executive order 13848. 13818 is blocking the property of, you know what involved is, right? Look. Blocking the property of persons involved in serious human rights abuse or corruption. And 13848, imposing certain sanctions in the event of foreign interference in the United States election. This is what this is. And guess what? Facebook can't do anything about it, nor can any other any social network. If they interfere, guess what? The military pays them a visit. They're gone bye-bye. Okay? He's serious. This man's serious. He knows what he's talking about. That's his word. Okay? He signed it. And someone else added in there, you know what? And find out. That's his signature. This is the true signature here. That's his signature right here. He didn't kid around. It does exist. So I'm telling you guys, this is how things are. Okay? So now let's get going. Let's talk here about something here. Number one, during the 5th of November, Klaus Schwab, WEF. Now there's talk about possibly could be a CYBER, okay, attack on the internet to prevent, any election about to happen. Now, I have some videos here that shows even the police, or security, should say, that belongs to FEMA, that had made a statement that, let's put it this way. Where can I bring it up? I'll bring the video up for you guys to see. Hang on a second. I'm bringing up the video. And then you can see it. Where is that video? Which one is that right here?
It's 2:41, and they are.
Okay. Let's bring this one up. And that's this one here. Okay. Watch carefully on this video. Watch carefully. And you see emergency services. This is FEMA, by the way. Okay. See the sign? Now, what FEMA had done is that there was an election happening in this building, and they were noticing that were too many people, I guess, electing our commander-in-chief, and so they decided to move the sign and remove it. So here's how it began. Let's take it back over here and start.
It's 2:41, and they are ending the line.
They're preventing people from walking in.
It's 2:41, and they are ending the line.
This is Kamala Harris's people that were sent down there to make sure that no one got to get in to vote. Some people are voting ahead of time. So that has happened. I've got a video on post boxes that were also burned, and they came from some of the voting stations, and someone who's actually the scrutineers, I guess one of the scrutineers, took the whole box or container of the ballots, threw them in a mailbox or mailboxes, and burned them. And so, what does that tell you, folks? They're trying to prevent this election from going through. So this is not a stage. This is for real. There are people that are just people like you and I that we're just watching, observing, and report it. They actually go on TikTok or they go on other social networks and they're sharing it. And there's or even Facebook or anybody who's actually doesn't agree what's going on, and they know it because they're one-sided. And they're going to try their darndest to cause trouble. Now, let's see. Heidi says, Aunt Terry said something about the royal family should get her to, Bill and you, Derek, are doing another ghost box. If we're doing another ghost box, Bill has been busy doing trips lately. I haven't done a ghost box to Bill for a couple months now. He has been so busy. His schedule right now this year is crazy. So I said to Bill, well, whenever you're ready to come on back or come over, let me know and we can do another show. But he does appreciate doing ghost boxes. So, yeah. Yeah. And that, so, okay. Wendy says, I am an Aussie and I used to be lazy and believe the politicians. So they'll call us lazy all I want. Yeah, why not? We can be lazy. I was lazy too. I didn't know better as being young. I mean, you want to believe, what your government's doing. You think your government's doing good. You're doing good for you, but you find out later they're not doing crap. They made you look pretty bad. And hey, Stephen, nice to see you in the chat room. Okay. So they talk about the blackout. Now that's that will probably come in our way, most likely after November the 5th. There's been lots of flooding in France as we speak. There's actually France and Italy has had, and in the European areas, there's major flooding. Crazy part of it is Italy already has its own water. I mean, the waters have built up to the houses themselves. All these houses are made of stone and brick. Been there for thousands of years, and they raise their houses up off the ground people are actually, you're actually boating to your house. And now the water's even higher in Italy, major floods in there, and also the major overflow. Then France has got majorly flooded as we speak. So if anyone's down in France right now, guys, everyone has to raise their houses higher somehow, or tie your house down so it doesn't float away. And a lot of guys are strapping them down. And when North Carolina and quite a few other small little areas, what they're doing now or had done is when they realized after the flooding is going to be horrible, they decided to strap down their houses. They're anchoring them into the ground. And you'd be surprised what you see. I saw so many photographs of guys strapping their houses down. It was crazy. I mean, the flood when Hurricane Helene and also the other hurricanes, Milton, and also another one, I think another one came after that, did some major destruction. They figured they've lost at least a good over 100 million over 100,000, 200,000 people that have passed away due to the floods, loss of houses. This is not just, and yet your mainstream media will say, oh, only a couple hundred people. No, it was bigger than that. The numbers are much bigger. They can't, there's still families looking for their families, and they're recording them on TikTok. They're still looking for their loved ones. They're looking for their mother and father and children, or the husband's still looking for his wife and his kids. And I mean, it's still happening, folks. It's all over TikTok. I can't believe it. And yet TikTok had the audacity, because I don't use TikTok often, but TikTok has the audacity to remove them. They're removing what people are asking to help find their loved one, and TikTok's removing it. Who in the hell is TikTok? Who's controlling it? Who owns it now? CIA? Those three numbers, three letters. We'll find out, folks. Those three letters. Okay, now let's go into, like I said earlier, Klaus Schwab and a few other people are talking about the SYBER attack during the election. And FEMA hasn't been doing bugger all to help people. In fact, they're taking food away from people, taking their water away from people. There actually have been citizens that volunteered to bring in truckloads of supplies and even survival supplies for the people that actually lost their homes and that were still stranded, because FEMA is not even rescuing them. And so what FEMA was doing actually was taking all the food and water away from them. They even though it's dropped off for the people are actually the regular citizens are there. They're picking up the food, and FEMA walk up to them and said, you can't have it. And they took away from them. And they said, if you touch this food or water, you're going to jail. I'm not kidding you guys. FEMA is evil. Okay. FEMA is evil. They're not as good people as you think they are. They're the ones that are stealing. And I've talked to a lot of people from the North Carolina region and other areas, and they've all said that FEMA has been stealing the food and supplies, survival kits and supplies from the people who need it. There are people that need to be rescued from certain areas that were flooded out. Folks, these floods have did some major damage and losses of lives. And yet, even in the States, even your Vice President Harris says, oh, there's no problem down there. FEMA's taking care of it. Everybody's happy. No. Or else I would be hearing it from people that are actually in the Telegram room who actually been down there volunteering, helping those people that need to be rescued, or helping those people who need the food and water and clothing, warm clothes, especially now the winter that is coming into winter and the weather's colder, need a place to stay. It's crazy. People have lost their homes, as in wiped out. When the flood came in, houses are gone, like wiped out. Not one house, the whole freaking town, gas station and all. Okay. Wendy says earlier this year we had floods in state and our emergency service were doing nothing. So private people went in doing rescues and supplying food and water. And the government agencies tried their best to chase them out. Exactly. They don't want you to survive. Don't forget, this is stage 2. This is the Bill Gates stage 2. He says it's called the depopulation program. This is stage 2. He talked about this already. Okay. Now I'm going to bring this up for you guys to see this, because I'm setting this up as a stage, as a set. Let's do this. Let's bring this up. Okay. YouTube's going to hate me for this, but I don't give a crap. Anyways, you're going to see this, folks. So see down below. Okay. Bill Gates' grandfather. I said this to you guys a few years back. Bill Gates' grandfather, Dr. Frederick L. Gates, was involved with the experiment, the beaked. Okay, you can see it, the JA, which is a snake bite that killed over 100 million in 1918 to 1920. And they said it wasn't. You know what it is? It was the bacteria that it was called it experimental. Gee, I wonder what you say, folks. And the bacteria was actually in the masks that people are also wearing. And these masks were actually made by the people themselves, or homemade. So people kept wearing them. Now here's some stuff in here. Look at this is actually 1918, folks. 1918, right there. See, what are they wearing? Okay, here's a mask. Here's a mask. Here's a mask, and the dog is wearing a mask. Okay. And you can see in the news, they're all wearing masks, cartoon versions of it. And it says voluntary flu ban urged. Schools closed, no services in churches today, Sunday. Death brings warning of influenza, ban on dances in place by health officer. Okay, Newport gym classes stop. Funeral ban is ordered. Newport library ordered closed. Help bar deadly influenza. Okay, churches, schools, shows closed. Okay, what does that tell you, folks? Look at this. Okay, here's how a guy learns how to smoke. Okay, he made this. You can smoke, but you can't breathe out. You can't breathe the air, but you can smoke. Go figure that one, right? And where people are still doing this, they were even doing this to even earlier today or these days, even time we had the lockdown. And look at this. It says, look at this. 1918, folks, wear a mask and save your life. The Red Cross. And the Red Cross was responsible for this. Again, it says a gauze mask is proof again against the influenza. Wear masks. The Alabama County Rebel Committee demanded you have to do this. When in quarantine, people who are in quarantine are not isolated if they have a Bell telephone. They're trying to sell you a telephone, right? Look at this. Wear a mask. Stamp out the influenza, Spanish influenza by wearing a mask. Now you guys know where I'm coming from. I've got more information on this. I have more pictures, more proof. I've been sharing this with people for a long, long time. So this actually has been going on. This is the stage 2. This is what we had, folks, in the Big C-19 back in 2019. This was the stage 2. This was made before. Bill Gates actually carried on his grandfather's legacy, was again to depopulate. They killed over 2.5 million people with the lockdown in 1918 to 1920, and they did it by one way. It wasn't because you got the needle in the arm. It was because they actually wore the bacterial meningitis filled with masks. Wearing the cotton all the time, 24/7, your carbon dioxide built it up, did some damage, and that's exactly how people got sick, and really sick. They didn't have proper, and don't forget, they didn't have, the hospitals refused people to get better. And what the hospitals do to us when we were actually in the lockdown before, they refused people from coming in the hospital. And if you didn't get the snake bites, you weren't allowed to come in. And also, too, they were not allowed to be touched by anyone. You weren't even allowed, they weren't even allowed visitors. You weren't even allowed family to come by your side. If, say, for example, that person's in hospice and that person is passing away, you weren't even allowed to see your parent or loved one pass away. You were told to stay away, and they died alone. Okay. And you guys let them. Okay. You guys let them. Because you believed that the government was telling you the right thing, and they weren't. Okay, I have a lot of people, friends of mine that actually worked in hospitals, and they feel real bad the fact that that's what they had to go through. And they said to me, some of them I spoke to, some of the nurses that I would do readings for, had said to me, and even caregivers, and they said they didn't want to follow through what others were doing. And some of them said they had to do a urine test. So some of the mothers, and I'll be honest about it, I'm going to say this to you guys now. A lot of people got away with by not having to get the snake bite. Why? Because everyone had to be tested, right? And that you know very well that test is not correct either. Stick down the nose does not mean as accurate, because they already got the big V on the end of the stick. They already have it prepped to go before that. In fact, they're giving it to you. So what happened was, and that's been proven, by the way. So what they were doing is people who were supposed to do urine tests to prove that you weren't having the big V. So what happened was some friends of mine would tell me that they would get their children that have never been to school to urinate for them to go to and use that as a urine test. Okay. And a lot of people have said, my God, your urine is so youthful. You must be a very strong person. I'm so surprised that you're able to do this. Because don't forget, folks, you didn't have to stand in front of them to do the urine test. And if you did, you may have taken your child with you to the washroom, but you got your kid to do the job for you. And it happened many times. Okay. Many people in the movie industry, a lot of the employees did the same thing. They always knew somebody that was never snake bitten, and they actually would use their own urinal test, and they're able to protect themselves by not having to go through it, because basically the life threatening of the companies said if you didn't get the test, you would go to jail, or not just that, you wouldn't have a job. That sort of scare tactic. So now our government, our Canadian government, now is trying to pass a law, and they want to put it through and make it where they're going to force us to do it. And under Bill C-293, I believe, I could be wrong, don't quote me, and they were trying to see if they can pass this bill in Canada. Well, number one, and it says in the name of the king. Well, number one, we don't have a king. Number two, we don't have a prime minister. So that law is null and void. Sorry, folks. That law is null and void. All of your laws that are passed by anybody who's in government right now in your federal government are null and void, because most of the people were already replaced. They're not the real folks that once were. Wendy says, earlier this year we had floods in the state and our emergency services were doing nothing. So private people went into doing rescues. Oh yeah, I remember seeing that one just now. Somebody else in there. Hey, Travis, nice to see you. So, like I said before, we've been dealing with this now. They're bringing it up again. They're trying to do the same transparent. They're saying it's transparent, which is bullcrap. They want to get people to redo it again. Now they're coming up with some new commercials. They even went as far as getting Wayne Gretzky, our hockey player, one time, now one coach. They're trying to get, they paid him over $1 million to actually get people in a commercial to line up to get their next snake bite. And Gretzky, you traitor. You really are a traitor. People loved you once. Now you're the most hated man in the world. Grow up, Gretzky. Stop taking the bullshit. Unless you actually sold your soul too. So, I once lived in Edmonton, so I know he's an idiot. He was a crybaby when he played hockey. Okay, since 1918, like I said, the Spanish flu, our world became the testing ground for world domination by using chemical warfare. And that's what this is all about, folks. This is basically why this whole thing was happening. They're trying to use chemical warfare to control the public. Now, Kamala Harris, actually, what she had done, the Vice President Kamala Harris is she decided to say, oh, I had a job once before I became the Vice President, and before I became a lawyer, I actually worked at McDonald's. Well, that's not true. We found out a photograph, a true accurate photograph, and this is her photo that she had made. Okay. She made this photo herself, by whom I don't know, but this is now on the right. You'll see this young lady here. That's a true McDonald's employee. And on the left, it's supposed to be Kamala Harris. How come Kamala Harris's arms are the same as this other girl, and how her skin tone? Okay, and look at the fingers. They're all the same. Nothing's changed. Okay, so what does that tell you, folks? Fingers on fingers, same look. And look at her face. This is AI'd. Her head's a lot bigger here compared to here. See the difference? She's darker skinned than she is here, but yet her arms are white. What does that tell you? Okay. See that? Darker skinned here, light skinned here. But somehow she tried to make it look she was in. Now, for some reason, she's trying to get people to believe that she worked at McDonald's. Here's the funny part of it. There's more explosions outside regarding the. We have a lot of people doing Halloween fireworks. Our good friends, our commander in chief, decided to work for McDonald's for a day, and he became an employee, and he cooked and he served the food, and he actually did the takeout, and people loved him. Now, he did say he was hired and employed for 24 hours, and he actually was an employee of McDonald's. So there is your accuracy. He was trying to make a point that he did work for McDonald's. And he was easygoing. You could see the guy. He just loved what he did. He wanted to find out what it was like to work at McDonald's. Now, I don't think he would have worked for McDonald's over 20 years ago. No, because that food wasn't tainted. It was not what you say it is, what you think it is. It was not the correct food. So it got fixed, because that's the reason why he's able to tell you that food now is okay to be eaten, because that's why he went there. He's letting you know that food now is safe, that it's real beef, not something else, that the buns are real, not something else. He's trying to show you that everything is better than it used to be. He's actually improved it, because all those people that were messing with the food, say 3-4 years ago, or more earlier than that, as soon as he became president, they went down to the place where McDonald's was, the big huge factory, and they took care of all the people that were involved that actually made the tainted food, and they really did some major damage, and they fixed it. Okay, so now it's been cleaned up completely. They got rid of all the bad people. They're gone, and now you know. Okay, so if you look at my flyer on my wall, and my let's do this again. Okay, now you see some of the things I've been hinting. I put a few things in here on the wall. It says shit show, okay, inside of here. And it says the blackout is coming, YouTube. These are hints, okay. Rumble, keep calm, and remember the 5th of November. The end of the New World Order is near. The end of the New World Order is near. What you're saying now, and if you see right here, that emblem, okay, that's us. That's our symbol, that we are there to support our commander-in-chief. Time is on our side. And it's almost that time, because you can see 5 minutes to 12. So when 5 minutes to 12 begins, boom, boom. On the 5th of November, you'll find out, what do clocks mean? Big Ben, right? This clock has a purpose. Tick, tock, like a pendulum. Heads are going to roll off. Again, remember the 5th of November, the gunpowder treason and plot. I know of no reason why the gunpowder treason should ever be forgot. So now you know. All of this has a reason. I'm trying to get you guys to look at it, and look at it carefully, because this is all begin to happen. On the 5th of November is going to be a very special day. So some people say, will Trump ever be elected as president? He already is. He always has been. But he will be if he does, he'll be reelected as the commander, and well, he actually is a commander in chief, but he'll be elected as the president of the new Republic of the United States, not United States of America, of the new Republic of the United States, of United States. Okay, yes, you're right, Tina. EBS, Emergency Broadcasting System. It will come up. It's expected. Now, it may not happen immediately, but it's going to show you they're coming in stages. Okay, but they're showing you also, if you do have a blackout for those 10 days, it's to show you there's going to be military tribunals coming soon. You have to see the military tribunal. You can't avoid this. There'll be no, and I'll give you an example. People say, "Oh, I'm not going to see it. Then I'll just turn off my TV and I'll just watch. I'll go on the internet." No, you won't have access to internet. You'll have access to one type of internet because it's going to shift. All of the internet services are going to flip, and it's going to be controlled by the military. You're not going to see all the things you once had. Like I tell people, if you actually have a website that you on your server, or if you actually have some pages, some of your social networks may end up dropping. You may end up losing them. They may not come back because those are coming down, because the original owners of those businesses are going to show you that they're also being taken away in wonderful looking jewelry, and they're taking a one-way trip on their vacation, but they're not coming home. Okay. So I'm just showing you this actually is still going to happen. This is not a light load. This is actually for real. You have to see the truth. We've been in slavery for a long, long time. So blackout 10 days, and then they kept on saying blackout is still necessary, still going to happen. We just have to be patient. Like, don't be sad. It's supposed to happen. We have to show you guys what's really going on. Things have to be seen to show them the truth, because we don't need to be controlled anymore. Like, why would you want to pay taxes the rest of your life and not have a great life? Why would you want to expect to spend over $1 million to buy a house, which you'll never be able to afford? They'll take that away from you. How come you can't drive a car the way you've always wanted to have one? Right? Why can't you have a gas-powered vehicle? They're trying to say you can't have it. They're trying to say that you can't even have a house unless you are rich. They're saying that you cannot get food unless you're rich. They're going to say you can't buy things unless you're rich, but you have to abide by their rules. Whose rules? The corporations. It's not to do with government. Government is a corporation. So they're going to try the darnest to control, even go further and try and control us. There's just leftover crap. Now, most of these people, I would say 90% of them, the bad ones, whether government, or the official, whether representatives, and all that, they're gone already. Okay? They're already gone. They've already been taken away. And all you see right there, out there right now, your parliamentaries, your governments, everything, they've been replaced. Most of them are clones or actors in masks. Okay? They're just showing you something. This is a clown show. This is a circus right now. And we're watching the clowns do their stupid crap, but you have to be a witness to watch it. Because if you don't become a witness to watch it, then you won't know why they're doing it. Let's put it this way. If it was never ever mentioned, say our commander-in-chief decided to arrest everybody. Say he did it a couple of years ago. Arrest everybody and took them to Guantanamo Bay, and they all got tried and they were taken out, blah, 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 blah. You still blame Trump. You blame him, thinking, oh, how do you know that person was bad? This way here, you have to see the truth, how bad and evil these people were. Because they were really horrible, horrible people. And there's so many new things being that have never been shown to the public. And the reason why it has never been shown to the public, because they had to keep it quiet. If they showed you everything, then the black hats would never do anything. They would just wait until it's over, and then they come back and cause more crap. This way here, they still think. That's why Trump, my mic. That's why Trump, what he had done was give them a leash and let them feed the leash away. And when they pick all that garbage up, and that's the reason why they're leashed off, right? Hi, Maria. Nice to see you. So what about the landlords that want so much for rent? They're going to be taken care of too, because they're going to our rent's going to go down to 1955, the year of 1955. Housing's going to drop to 1955. Gasoline's going to drop to 1955. All of our credit cards will be graced. That means no more paying credit cards, no interest rates. All interest rates will be removed completely. Like, again, your credit card business are run by a mafia. It's all mafia run. We've had so many people trying to coerce the citizens of the world continuously, and they're still trying to get people to be believing that there's going to be the digital way only, and cash will be no longer in existence. Well, right now as we speak, I mean, yes, they're supposed to say cash is supposed to be under a corporation to a point, but cash will still be part of us in the future. There will be a trade. What I understood with what Trump had said, that all the monies across the world, every individual money across the world will be equal. No, there will be no stock market to control what's higher and what's lower regarding cash. That's going to be the same level of money value. So if you're in China or Japan, if you're in Europe or whatever, your cash is the same. There's no difference. So they're going to be making an international dollar that everybody else will be using. There's no difference, but it's all specially done. I mean, that's the reason why Canada had already started making special monies called duck money, not DUCK, but DUC or DUK. And that is, it's waterproof. You cannot destruct it. You cannot, it will shrink in the sun if it sits in the sun too hot, but it's made of a special product that it is of value in exchange. I'm not sure how long they're going to use it. Like, even your banks are going to end up being closed. A lot of your banks are not going to hardly even exist. Like, again, people, that's the reason why your banks are practicing right now not giving you cash. If anybody says, well, I want to get $5,000 to go to buy something, the first thing the bank's going to say to you, what are you going to get why do you want the $5,000, and what are you going to get for it? What do you want to, why are you going to, what are you going to use it for? Well, number one, the banks have no need to know. That's your privacy. They don't need to know what you're buying, why you're buying something for that, right? But now they want answers, or they won't give you the money. Now, number one, your banks have no right whatsoever to ask you what you're using the money for, but they'll also tell you too, they don't have money in the bank, period. None of your banks has cash. None of your banks have large amounts of cash. They're only allowed to hand out only $200 increments now in your bank account. That's it per day. $200, that's it per day. Why? Because all that cash, most of it actually been burned. It's already been gone. It's been destroyed. So whatever's left out in that world, you're hanging on to whatever's left. Okay. There's other countries right now that have had thousands and thousands of dollars of cash, and they actually, all that cash now became just straight paper. And I was looking at some videos, especially in Africa, the cash money now is in dumpsters full of cash, but it has no value. They've taken that away. They've taken the value of cash out. They just destroyed it. So it has no cash value. You have a bank account, yes, but now they want to know what you're buying things for. They're trying to control what you're buying, and nobody has any right to know what you're doing in life. But they also want to track you, and this is what they're trying to do. They want the government, not to our commander in chief, but the people before him. They want to track you and control everything you have and had in life. They want to know where you go. They want to basically find out, like, you're pretty well like a robot. If you can't go somewhere, they want to know why you're going there. Or if you want to go visit someone, well, we'll see. You're not allowed to visit so-and-so neighbor. And they also want to control districts. They want to make districts. And that's the reason why I've seen so many movies in theaters. One's called District 9, which basically people are only allowed to go into certain camps, districts, and to visit someone, but they have to get permission first. They got to pay to travel there, to go there. You're only allowed to use an electric vehicle. You could not drive with a gas-powered vehicle. So the government was always controlling you and tracking you. And then they want to also, with your nanobites in your body, they can actually hear through your cell phone, and or there can be microphones all over the place. So they want to know, and you have no privacy anywhere. Not even the latrine, you have no privacy. This is how government was like. Okay, this is who these corporations were like. They were going to try and control you, that you had no say in the matter. But that got changed. Our commander-in-chief said, no, you were born from God. God gave you this freedom. Man, who were these people, their evilness of them, they're trying to control you and see how far they can get away with it. Well, those bad ones that try to do this are gone. Okay, they're out of here. They're finished. But you're still going to find and hear little increments of the stories. And they're still going to try and fearmonger you, see how far they can get away with it. So whenever you see things on TV or see how the news is, if you hear of a prime minister or a vice president, like, don't expect Biden to do anything for you. He has no idea what the hell's going on. But this man's Biden's been underground for a long, long time. Okay, he's way below the basement. But Kamala Harris, okay, the original one, she's been taken out too. But this Kamala Harris is showing you something. So Maria says, I take my money out and store it. I can take up to $1,000, but changed it to $5,000 a day. I only pay in cash. It just says, and another note, do you know anything about the Bill C-293 about pandemic prevention and preparation? Is it going into its third hearing to be passed? Apparently. Well, number one, I'll tell you right now, your Bill C-293 will never get passed because, don't forget, guys, our PM, Justin Trudeau, has already been, okay, he's gone, okay? This is only an actor. This is a scare tactic. Okay, a real Trudeau cannot. The fake Trudeau has no. His signature is not worth nothing on paper. Nobody in government has even any power and signature to control us. None. Okay, whether they pass a bill or not, it'll never come to fruition. What they're trying to do is make you believe that they're going to, and why would they call it the Pandemic Prevention and Preparation Program? Okay, listen to the word pandemic prevention and preparation. That means they want you to line up again. Okay, and the word vaccination, don't forget, folks, that word vaccination in Latin, vaca means cow, and cination in Latin means lining up of cows. You guys are you're just lining up of cows. And what do the cows do? They follow each other to who's the lead cow? Who is the lead cow? I'm originally off the farm. Who is the lead cow? Your lead cow is Trudeau. And he wanted you to follow him and do what he wants you to do. But did you know that the real Trudeau never got the snake bite? Never. I watched the nurse give him a shot in the arm. And guess what? That needle went sideways. Brushed off of him. There was no needle on the end of it. And he laughed and smiled. And that was pretty cool. And what he did was, he was a fool. And what he did was, when he got his wife to do the same thing, to get the same one, right? But they both said, Trudeau even said to the people in public, well, I'm exempt. I don't need it. Why? Oh, my immune system's stronger. And so he's trying to make you believe that he got his. Every government official said they got theirs. But yet, I've noticed them getting really, really sick. Now, we did have a BC premier before David Eby was in premier. BC premier we had before, the one previously before, he himself suddenly became very, very sick that he ended up getting cancer. Okay, and he was so slim. I mean, so skinny. Lucky 125, 130 pounds. Now he was a much larger man. Then he was taken away. Some people picked him up. A couple of weeks later, all of a sudden he came walking into the office as if nothing ever happened to him, and he looked perfect. Body weight was the same, the whole 9 yards. I'm thinking, oh, clone. Get it, guys? Clone. That means he was a bad guy. Everybody's been replaced temporarily. The clones can be shut down. Just press a button. They're gone. I had a dream a couple of years ago. I dreamt, and I'm staying with this. This was my prediction, that there will be a switch. That switch be turned on, which probably the towers, when they get turned on, they're not G5. Those aren't 5G towers. They never were. They're never different kind of tower. They turn on those towers, and everybody who's been whoever hacks you is a clone. Boom, face down on the ground. They pick up those clone bodies and they're gone. They're taken away. So you'll know exactly who really is human, alive, and yeah, you'll find out. I've seen the vision, I've seen the dream, and I'm staying with it. So there's lots here that we can go with, folks. It's going to be a lot of fun to do, to know. So they're talking about right now, there have been some people coming forward, famous people. We've already had Tupac Shakur come forward. He's up in Cuba. He's been living there almost with license. Everybody said, oh, he died, but he didn't. They said he was shot. He was not. He's actually hiding away in Cuba. Snoop Dogg actually introduced him on stage a couple of weeks back and said, my best friend called me up and said, okay, let's do it now, because right now P. Diddy is in jail. And P. Diddy actually was very powerful. He had a lot of powerful people behind him financially. And so once they got a hold of P. Diddy and put it behind bars, P. Diddy will never come out. Will never, ever come out. He's permanent. Okay. He even tried to put $1.5 million as a bond to bail out of jail, and they wouldn't accept it. The judge did not accept him. Now, number one, P. Diddy is not going to go to a regular common jail. P. Diddy is going to military tribunal jail. Okay. He's gone bye-bye. He's not behind bars in the city. He's gone bye-bye. He's over there in Cuba right now. Diddy's not here. He's in Cuba. Okay. And so he can't touch nobody. He can't scare nobody. He can't say, oh, I can do this, that person, and take him out. You can't. I'll call somebody up. Can't. He can't. He's done. That's why a lot of actors, actresses, people that P. Diddy's actually known that he's done harm to, now they're coming forward and they're actually confessing. They're actually saying things. They're basically saying, now I'm free and clear. Now I can say shit. And they're doing it. They're cornering the guy. He's going to be there. These are witnesses. Okay. These are people that are going to come forward and say shit. Now, whether they have to go and witness protection, I don't think so. They don't have to. How do I know that Trudeau is no more in the flesh? Because he was arrested July 19th, 2019. I watched the video. It was someone in the military that recorded it. I was very fortunate to see it on July 19th, 2019. He was actually hand shackled, both ankle and hand shackles. They put him on the military plane, right? Sat down next to his Castro father. They're both taken to Cuba. In June 2020, they were tried and by military tribunal. And and then both of them are gone. That's all I can say. So what you see right now, what happened was they brought in some practicing actors to play him. One showed up wearing a goatee a week later, and one came back to be another actor who's a lot smaller and skinnier with a very bowl cut haircut, much shorter hair. One did not, most of them didn't even know how to speak English or speak French. And a lot of them had no idea who other people that they're supposed to have known them. They didn't recognize them or play the game or play along. Most of the time they're in silence. One sat there wearing a mask all the time in Parliament, never said words. He let everybody else talk for them. He just sat in Parliament, not do nothing. So he was covered from here to here. All you see was his eyes to look like as if that was him. So they went through 5 Justins. This one here that you see here actually is a clone. He's playing himself, but he's not. He won't be here that long. Right now he's being exposed, and he's making it happen. He's told what to say, and they have to follow through with it. So Justine is gone. The real one's gone, and I know it. I trust it. This is when my intel tells me, I'll stay with it. Because why would they want? Because I remember they used to have an anklet around him. And he carried that thing for the longest time under his fancy socks. So he had this. So why would they have a tracker on him all the time? Then he wore a boot. They put a boot on him for a bit, and he said, "Oh, I had a skiing accident," but he never went skiing. So almost every politician had a boot on. A lot of actors had boots on in the same month. A lot of them actually all had boots on. I call them Das Boots. So they all got themselves booted because they had trackers on them. Yeah. What does it mean to be in military jail for PD Day? Military jail means that when you go to jail and you're in the military jail, you don't come out. You're doing life in prison, or let's put it this way: if you commit a treason to your country, that you'll be charged, sentenced, and you'll be executed. That's it. There's no lawyer to represent you. You're tried by the military. You have a judge and military. No representative as lawyers. None. In fact, even if you're a citizen of your country, you go to military tribunal. There's no more politicians that just go only. It actually includes citizens. So if anybody's done a heinous crime, say human trafficking, child pedophilia, anything that was a heinous crime, you're gone. Drug dealer, you're gone. Not drug user, but drug dealers, you're gone. And they're talking about big time boys. Mafia, you're gone. Like they are stopping all this. This is our commander in chief has over 1 million soldiers all over the world picking up all these people. No, Diddy was never a pawn. Diddy was a leader, one of the leaders. I'm going to put you guys on pause for a couple minutes. I'm going to go and do something real quick. And I will be right back. I'll play some music here for a few minutes.
Everyone lives, everyone dies.
Right back.
Everyone loves, everyone cries. Round the world we're all alike. So why is a war? Why do we fight? There's one sea, one tide, one earth. So you and I gotta learn to live together. When one hurts, when one needs, we all gotta learn to live together. Peace, make peace, make peace, peace. Alright, isn't it time, brother, stop dying? Isn't it time, mother, stop crying? Stop the fighting and the hate. We gotta make peace before it's too late. There's one sea, one sky, one earth. So you and I gotta learn to live together. When one hurts, when one needs, we all gotta learn to live.
No, it's not over. I'm right back. Hang on, guys. When you drink too much kombucha, it makes you use the bathroom more, cleans out your system. No, I have not left the room. I are gone. I had to go relieve myself quickly, so I come back. Anyways, Justin Bieber was a victim. Yes, he was. I got the video of Justin Bieber, who actually feel bad for the kid for what he went through. Okay, so I'm going to share this with you guys. Here it is. You wanted to know? Here it is. Every guy that tried to get Bieber to do something, everybody that's above him, he was just a kid.
You're not young and ignorant in the streets.
Thank you. I was 16, I was 17, and like 2.
That's it, yeah. You have beautiful lips.
Oh, thank you, man.
Yes, of Usher. When you know he did his first album, I did Usher's first album. I don't have legal guardianship with him, but for the next 48 hours, he's with me. So and we're gonna go full crazy.
That lady can come to my house. You come and stay. Would you like to come and stay?
So why don't you give me the sex talk? I feel uncomfortable right now. Oh, why do you want to know the sex talk from a 15-year-old boy? That's pretty weird. Talk about the album.
You're 18 now. Are we going to hear you talking about sex?
Talking about, everything I'm going through. I mean, I think
In the interview, you say you should make love to someone if you don't have feelings. Which, of course, most of us said that's bullshit. And she wants to know if you're in love today.
I'm 16. I mean, I kind of just want to keep my.
Okay. Now you know. The kid, I mean, this is a Canadian kid. And he was dragged from he wanted. He actually was an internet singer. He was actually on YouTube. He got picked up by P. Diddy, and P. Diddy says, you know what, here, come in my house. And that's exactly what happened. He became famous through him. When they say to you, are you willing to sell your soul? They get you to sign a paper. It's actually called the Hollywood contract. And even Sony is actually one of the biggest major satanic record company ever. And even Michael Jackson, he actually also said they're very corrupt and that he was going to end their company as well. Even though he say Maria, his mother should have known better. Actually, when you're handed money, lots of it, some parents, they'll say, oh no, I'll take good care of your son. He's okay. And most of those guys that he was interviewed by, most of them are in the gay and lesbian. Okay. And they're into children. So these are adults. These adults are into little boys, young girls. They didn't care because they thought they can get away with it. I mean, look at that. When he got that music award and that girl kissed him on the back of the neck and then grabbed his butt cheeks. She's double his age, maybe even more. She didn't care because she thought she can do whatever she wants. When you become rich and famous, you think you're invincible, that you cannot be touched. And this kid, he tried everything he could to make sure he wouldn't get harmed. That's why a lot of these singers and actors, young singers and actors, young children, young youth that were in the industry, they were also they got messed up badly, right? And you can have psychological problems. That's why a lot of girls and guys end up tattooing themselves, or they scarring themselves. They end up going into a lot of these rehab centers, and whether it's mental, physical, emotional, psychological breakdowns, and sometimes they end up going back 3 or 4 times. So I think it was a major relief for this young man, for Justin Bieber, when he found out that P. Diddy was taken to jail. He was like, now I got this gorilla off my back. No pun intended. Don't disrespect. Like got the bad guy off my shoulders. That's what he was trying to point out. Okay. And, because that's what Diddy was doing. People called him P. Diddley because he was diddling kids. So Diddy thought he had control, and then he tried to, when Trump was president of the United States, when he was elected president, P. Diddy came to the White House trying to favor Trump. Now, Trump did not know much about Diddy. He just saw him as a singer, and because he's well known, and he had pictures of him standing next to P. Diddy in the White House. When Trump found out that what he's dealing with, Trump didn't do much. He just watched him closely. But there's a photograph of Trump standing next to Diddy, and his finger is pointing to him like this. Okay, finger pointed to Diddy. Why? Because he actually did this way. When you point your finger to that person this way, this actually is a symbol. This symbol means that he is a bad guy. And in government, in the military, it means he's a bad guy, that they're going to come and get him. And to watch him closely. Don't trust him. That's why Trump used that photograph. So, you're welcome, Wendy. Have a great time with your grandkids. So basically, this is what they were doing. He's been doing all this time. So you'll see a lot of photographs of Trump doing this next to somebody. When you got the finger pointing at that person, he's pointing to the person. He's not pointing to this. He's not doing over here. He's pointing to them. The way he does it, like a gun, means that he's a bad guy, not a good guy. Okay, Linda Studley says, is Jasara already in operation? Yes, it is. We had a U.S. delivery today where no taxes or duty was changed as it usually is. Yeah, things will begin. You'll start noticing a lot of changes. Okay, because even people that are getting delivery services, they're not even charged delivery. They're getting free service from the U.S. So the thing is that what's happening, I already know this, that our commander-in-chief is still in control, but he's trying to show you things that you need to keep an eye on, like watch carefully, you'll see for yourself what's going to happen next. Looking forward to seeing this all come out. And let's see here. No. Okay, that one. Nope. 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 That's not it. Where are you? Yeah. So, there are so many things out there to this day that people may not realize how what people are like this all day. Will scammers get dealt with? Oh, big time. The scammers that are trying to mess with people's lives, they're going to be gone bye too. Again, we're also given heads up about what to be aware of, and especially when they do to the elderly. It's tougher, and a lot of the elderly have no idea a lot about scammers. They're believing certain things that would be good for them, but it's not. So, but I'm going to share this with you guys again. Look at this carefully on the screen. Okay, this is important. Executive Order 13818. It says, blocking the property of persons involved in serious human rights abuse or corporation. Executive Order 13848. This is what I talk about all the time. Imposing certain sanctions in the event of foreign interference in the United States election. Okay, they're talking about this right now. This is all to do with the election. This is executive order. This is a military order, folks. This is not your provincial or government order. This is a military order. You see that skull? That's what it means. So anytime that someone tries to mess with you, by any means, use it. Share it with them. stops them in their tracks. Okay. What do you think will happen to our Supreme Court system, like in family divorce courts? Just wondering, as I truly believe most judges are corrupt. Well, number one, that you're going to go through what's called maritime law. You need to study yourself. Study maritime law. You'll know what the real truth is. You'd be surprised when you study maritime law. Even the lawyers themselves will have to go through retraining. All the courts are going to change. It's going to be a complete turnaround, absolute turnaround. They're not kidding you. It'd be absolute turnaround. It's going to change things up. People are going like, what? You know, it's going to wake them up big time. So anyways, okay. I said before, there's lots of flooding. I said earlier this evening, lots of flooding in France and Italy. They're doing a lot of cleaning up. There will not, as far as I'm concerned, I don't think there will be an election, because Harris is going to try to disrupt the ballots. She's already trying already. She's going to make it where, again, another disruptive issue. She's believing she's going to be the next president. She never will be. Never, ever, ever will be. People are actually she did a presentation on the platform. Not sure what the city was, where the city was in the States. I can't remember now. But when I saw her, the people were mocking her in public. They're actually, when she said something in a nasty way about Trump, the way she said it, everybody switched around in the crowd and they turned around and said, "You lie, you're a liar, you're a liar." So they caught her in a lie. Okay. So yeah, you're right, Keith. We shall see. You're funny, my friend. Do you know if, in fact, Supreme Court judges and family court can be paid off, Derek? Not every judge is bad. I mean, I was a counselor, native court worker at one time, many years ago, working as a native court worker. But I worked at Surrey Pretrial in Surrey for about a year and a half. And some of the judges are good. They're very fair. And then some shouldn't be judges. So it depends, you know. But again, depending what kind of judge you're looking for. If you're looking for a family judge, that's a lot different compared to criminal judge. And then there's property judges, and there's different kinds of judges now. There's some get paid very well money, and others don't get paid as much. Even some of your lawyers don't get paid much either. Okay. But again, like I said before, expect to hear. I want you to give you a heads up, guys. Expect to hear about a CYBERATTACK. It's going to happen. It'll knock the internet down. It's going to happen on the 5th of November. It's very possible because FEMA is going to be involved in this. FEMA is going to try to distract. FEMA is actually working for Kamala Harris. They're the ones that are causing all the garbage. So they're going to try and cause interference with the election. I'm not kidding you guys. This is actually crazy. There are actually camps, FEMA camps right now as we speak, and they've got a whole bunch of major equipment out there set up on locations. And here's what really gets me. The FEMA employees are carrying M16s. They're carrying military equipment. They're carrying rifles. Why in a FEMA camp? It has nothing to do with rescuing people. Why are they carrying rifles? Because of a criminal? Or are they carrying rifles because they don't want the citizens to complain? You shall see. It's going to be bigger than you think, guys. Okay. Heidi says, you got money back account. What should you do with it? Take it to or change it to gold bars? Yes, I recommend it. If you got, right now is this point. If you are using a common bank, a regular common bank, take most of your money out, just use the cash that's there for whatever bills you got to pay, leave it there. If you don't have to have a whole bunch of money in your bank account, save it at home, because there's going to be a time that will be another lockdown, one more lockdown, not for very long. One more lockdown, you're going to have stores that will say, corporate stores will say, we have no power in here, no access to power. We're going to need groceries. You're going to need, and people are going to depend on cash. So you can hand out the cash to buy the products from the people, because right now it's possible the electronics is not going to work to transact any debits or credits, so you're going to have to have cash. If you don't have cash, then you go to a trade. That means you'll see a lot of farmers now willing to sell lots of their fruits and vegetables on by the farmers. Go to the farmers, start trusting your farmers, go to them, get your fruits and vegetables and your meats. They have all that available, your eggs, your beef, whatever you want, it's there. They're trying to sell. What our governments are doing, our Canadian American governments right now, they're trying to shut the farmer down. They're trying to say that the farmer cannot sell to you. Okay, they want to control the farmers selling. I'll give you an example. Many years ago, back in around the 1860s, even earlier, 1820, 1830 or 40, Hudson's Bay Company, if you guys remember Hudson's Bay Company, they wanted to control the market. For as far as anybody who actually was a hunter or of any sort, whether they're hunting beef or hunting buffalo, or making a certain food, like say they're making pemmican, which actually what it is, it's actually ground down dried meat with berries in it, with Saskatoons, and they call it pemmican. Or if they were making clothing of sorts, making certain kinds of clothing, whatever have you, Hudson's Bay Company was not allowing any Métis or First Nations or non-Indigenous people to be able to sell an item to a person in the area or out of province. Okay, Hudson's Bay Company wanted to control the market completely. If you were caught selling something to somebody besides to Hudson's Bay, they were involved by getting the law to arrest you and imprison you because you sold your product to somebody else. Now, Hudson's Bay was corrupt. Okay, I'm telling you, Hudson's Bay Company was very corrupt. They wanted to control the marketing industry as far as the trading post is concerned. They were not super nice people. They were bad people. But there are certain people, and a lot of the people, there was over 200, 300 wagons that were of Métis and there's also other non-Indigenous people that said the Hudson's Bay cannot stop allowing people from selling or buying items from others across the land. You see, Hudson's Bay wanted to control it like a law. They wanted to be a corporation to control what you were allowed and not allowed to have. Even in your home, you weren't even allowed to have a fur in your house. If Hudson's Bay found out, they would send their own soldiers, their own personal Hudson's Bay soldiers, to your house and walk right in. And if they find furs in your house, then they would take them from you. And then they would arrest you and jail you in their own Hudson's Bay jail. And you'd be arrested and you'd be serving 6 months to 2 years for actually carrying or withholding furs in your home, even though you're a trapper or you're saving some of the furs for yourself. You were never allowed to have any furs of your own personally to wear to stay warm. This is Canada, guys. This was in Canada. And it happened all the way until the 1870s, 1880s, until someone had said in government that we are allowed free trade. And because other people wanted to be in businesses and they wanted to do the same thing. That's why you had these mercantiles that wanted to sell products. They're not Hudson's Bay. They would just be a private mercantile to bring in material to sell the same similar thing. And that's exactly what they did here in Canada. So Hudson's Bay had to back off. But people may not realize Hudson's Bay actually got away with murder, physical, real murder. They actually killed a lot of people to make sure they stayed in the marketing industry. They weren't pure and true. They were seriously evil people at first. They were just trying to control the market for a long, long time. But again, there were no police officers and there were no judges at the time to maintain a law. So they made themselves their own law. They're the ones that try to control the land. They controlled all the territories of Canada, all the way from the east to the west. So now today, it's not the same. It's not the same. Hasn't been the same. So That's why Hudson's Bay changed over, because it was, number one, Hudson's Bay actually was Canadian, was actually British owned. And then it was actually, there was someone who came in and bought the company in Canada. It merged itself into Canada. So basically it went from, there was a partnership between England, the United Kingdom, as well as Canada. They both worked together. Okay. So the Hudson's Bay Company in Canada, and that's why they used to see a lot of Hudson's Bay stores, Hudson's Bay Company stores, and they're selling products. Then when United States bought the company, because later on, many years later, I would say 2019, no, sorry, 2000 and 2000 and I think 12 or 13, I could be wrong, around the year 2000. The United States bought, I'm not sure who the people were that bought, but the United States, the U.S. bought Hudson's Bay Company. They bought 5 square miles of the warehouse, 5 square miles of warehouse. They were trading blankets. There's many things that were actually still hidden away for over almost between 150 to 200 years, 150 years in storage. A lot of trading blankets that have been there in storage for 150 years, never been exposed to public. A lot of stuff been held back in storage. And the United States bought it all. And then but once they bought the company, they were not allowed to use the word Hudson's Bay Company. So they called it HBC. And then it became a different product. Then they started to make Hudson's Bay blankets. And they actually, when they made the Hudson's Bay blankets, they were no longer made in England, because they used to be made in England. Now they're made in China. The new Hudson's Bay blankets are made in China, and there's 3 line marks that goes on the side tip of the blanket, and you see the stripes, and those represent the trading industry of how many beavers takes to buy that blanket, and that's because they do the trade from Hudson's Bay, and so you would sell your beavers or sell your a certain kind of furs to maintain to purchase that blanket, because wool blankets are 100% wool, right? And that's from sheep. So those blankets are very, very, and sheep were actually raised in England. And so that's why we needed those Hudson's Bay blankets, or those blankets. But now in Canada or in the United States, the United States actually contracted out China to make the Hudson's Bay blanket. They're no longer called, they're called Hudson's Bay blanket or HBC, but they're using the same logo. But the thing is that they sprayed a black line along the side with paint. And yet they're still trying to sell the blankets for what they were worth 30, 40, 50 years ago. Hudson's Bay blankets are the most expensive blankets to purchase, between $300 to $500 a piece. And to this day, people still think those blankets are worth $500. No, they're not. In China, their materials, they make a Hudson's Bay blanket, they're only worth no more than $100, maybe $50. But they're trying to make you believe that those blankets are worth more than the true Hudson's Bay blanket. They're not. But this is what I'm trying to point out. The Hudson's Bay Company were not as nice as people as you thought they were. Okay. And again, even Keith Pickard, good friend of ours, knows all about the Hudson's Bay Company as well, because both him and I understand the history of this. And he calls it the Hay Trade Rifle, a musket, Hudson's Bay Trade musket. So again, this is how the industry worked. It was nuts. All right. And the thing is that it does relate to all of us here, all across Canada, as well as the United States. So anytime any corporation buys out a Canadian-owned company, for example, we have Tim Hortons. Okay. Now, here's your Tim Hortons, right? I'm going to give you guys a big heads up. It's called Tim Hortons, right? I grew up Tim Hortons as a kid here in Canada. Now, I lived in Manitoba. My mother used to work for Tim Hortons in the 1960s. 1969, my mother worked in Tim Hortons, 1969. And when they made donuts, they made them like, I mean, when you got your honey glazed donuts, you got a honey glazed donut. You guys, if any of you guys of my age, you will remember the best materials that were used. Okay. like even Keith says, BBC, copper kettles, fry pans, they were all for real. Okay, these are the real materials that were used. But what happened was, after I would say about maybe 10 years ago, now somebody who's no longer like basically somebody who owned this company after Tim Hortons was named after a hockey player, because Tim Hortons himself actually was the one that him and his mom started the very first Tim Hortons restaurant out in Ontario. And then they became a franchise through the years, and then everybody learned how to bake the same kind of baking, and the foods that was made in the restaurant became successful. I'm not disrespecting the United States, but here's the thing. When a person owns a corporation and they want to remove anything that's Canadian owned, that was considered as a beautiful historical legacy, that's what Tim Hortons was. It was a historical legacy since the 1950s. They destroyed it because they took away the word Tim Hortons. Okay, now it became Americanized. Now, we used to have special donuts, one's called the Canadian Maple. And that donut made is the real true maple, okay? And it was actually a maple dressing, or maple, that goes on top of the donut. And then the wonderful coconut filling inside. Now they removed the word Canadian off all of the donuts. Because one of the owners who bought one of the franchises said to me one day when I said, I want to get a Canadian maple, he says, we don't have Canadian maples here. Yes, you do. You got a Canadian maple. That's the main glaze. Thank you very much. They don't have the maple glaze anymore. They don't have the real maple syrup type of glaze or icing. All they're doing is they are making cheap stuff. Okay. And so maple syrup is not the way maple syrup used to be anymore. So whenever you buy something from Tim Hortons, they're giving you GMO. And when I ordered I remember I ordered a Canadian maple, and Canadian maple used to always be on the shelf every day throughout our lives. But as soon as the United States bought the company, they took the Canadian maple off the shelf. They took the Canadian oatmeal and raisin cookie off the shelf. They're calling it seasonal now, but the word Canadian maple no longer exists. Now it's called maple donut, not Canadian maple anymore. Maple donut. So I said to them, why did you guys remove Canadian? Because it's no longer Canadian. It's owned by America. So this is what these corporations are doing. They are removing our heritage, our history. Whenever we have, like, for example, we used to have another company, was well known in the Eaton's. Okay, T.E. Eaton's was well known in Canada. He's also used to have Eaton's. And you guys may remember Eaton's, the stores Eaton's. They also sell trade blankets, and the trade blankets that they sell at Eaton's was the Trapper. They're called Trapper Points. Okay, just like Hudson's Bay, but they're called Trapper Points, and both were valuable, both valued. But when Eaton's suddenly closed, Eaton's closed around the 1990s, late 1989, 89, early 90s. They closed. The all corporation shut down. Then you have another company. What was another well-known business? Oh my God, they say they're no longer around anymore. Shoot, guys, give me some corporate business that used to exist. Woolworths. Okay, T.E. Woolworths are gone. Here in Canada, they're gone. All these huge corporate businesses, shopping stores, shopping centers that we used to be well known. The Northern. Yeah, exactly. There's one there too called the Northern. There was another one too that we used to go, Woolco. Oh yeah, I remember in Brandon, Manitoba, we had Woolco. We used to go there when I was a kid back in the 60s. And Zellers, yeah. And there's also another one. They shortened Simpson Sears. There we go. Simpson Sears was well known, and then they call it Sears. Well, why did they call it Sears? because Simpsons and Sears was two people that once owned it, and then Simpson left, and they called it Sears, and then they sold the company to the States, and then with a matter of a few years later, they shut down Sears. And Simpson Sears is a very, very well-known company because they were around since the mid 1800s, and they used to have a catalog and used to order a house. Guys, used to order a house in a catalog. Okay? In a store, from a store. You go to the store and you get a catalog and you can order a house and you can actually assemble the house yourself. That's what they used to do. They had everything to provide you whatever you may need in life. They don't have these catalogs anymore. None. Right? Nothing. You guys, I remember my dad saying to me, "Oh, I always wanted to buy a house from them." He said, "Just you buy they supply you all the wood and everything, Timothy Eaton, T.E. Eaton." But this is basically, folks, think about this. I mean, the catalog, you used to buy the parts to build a freaking house. And they also had one that you can actually, the same company used to order a log house. You can go on the catalog and you can find, it'll say log house, and they would send it, they deliver it to you, and you assemble it. It's your house. You don't have to go get the wood, cut it, and everything. It's all there, pre-done, set up, take it down, whatever, how you want. That was your house. Canoes, yeah. Oh, big time, Keith, big time. They'd sell you canoes galore. Fishing gear. I mean, it went to the point. I mean, I remember some of the major corporate stores were selling rifles, firing rifles, like, hunting rifles. I mean, every firearm you could think of, bows and arrows, furs, like fur coats, everything that provides you for winter and summer. They provide you everything. And Army and Navy, there's very few of them left. No, there's the odd Army and Navy, but not the way they used to be. Some Army and Navies, are few of them still left in small towns, but not really in the big cities. So like I said, we are losing a lot of our Canadian history of our corporate stores, all because of all this. Like, people became selfish and greedy. I mean, these huge corporations, they are trying to eliminate history. They're trying to eliminate your history as a kid when you grew up. And I've always enjoyed, as a kid, going to the Hudson's Bay Company store. At the time, it was in Winnipeg, and we used to go to the third floor where they had their big restaurant. And the restaurant was like it was actually a not 24-hour restaurant, but it was I think it was from 6 a.m. until 9 p.m. at night, and it was a restaurant. I mean, people cooked. The women served you in uniform. It was a beautiful restaurant because it was a family type of restaurant where and all the meals are home cooked meals, not your typical fast food McDonald's. It was home cooked meals. You didn't get a little plate of food. You got a plate of food. When you ordered beef on a bun or your Salisbury steak, you got a Salisbury steak. Fish and chips, you got fish and you got your chips, and the chips are made right there on that spot. Okay, I'm telling you guys, everything has been lost and forgotten. They are trying to get you to forget and to remove historical foods that were good for you. Okay, beef was constantly eaten because it was good for us, but society, the doctors or medical industry, who they are trying to say that it's not good for us, that we shouldn't be eating it. Why? Because it's got something that helps our system to heal. Okay. But they were trying to get us to get into the fast food industry, where it has no calorie, basically has no really protein. It's nothing in it. There's nothing there. It's not even real food. Yeah. Thank you very much, Maria. Not real food. So I tell people, if you can find that mom pop business who's got a restaurant still doing home cooked meals, support them. Support them. Go there. Eat there. Don't worry about McDonald's or anybody else. Go to that mom and pop business. Support them. They're valued because there's very few of those companies, those restaurants left. I'm not kidding you guys. If it's home cooked meals, go to their place. I'm serious. We are losing them, and so many actually. Since we had the big C in 19, we have lost a lot of mom and pop businesses of all sorts. Everything from food, clothing, shoes, supplies, whatever. It's all there. They've all closed their doors because they were told that they had to follow the criteria, and if they didn't follow the criteria, that they were forced to be closed. And they didn't follow the criteria, so they shut down their business and walked away. They did themselves a favor, yes. But would they have considered going back and do it again? It's too scary for them because they were thinking that it'll start again. They had the government, the medical clinics had them believing, or the medical industry had them believing that it'll start again. So then now they turn around and go like, well, then why bother, right? So yeah, margarine is actually a fake butter, guys. It's a fake butter. Get real butter. The real butter is good, better, really good for you. So I know YouTube's going to go, well, you can't say that. Guess what, YouTube? Screw you. Like I said before, folks, there are some really good quality foods. Yeah, Linda says it says hard to find a sandwich today. It is. Good experiences in trade people, roofing and Sears. Yeah, like I said, they had oh my God. Yeah, like Jesse says, Wild West Monopoly Madness and HBC. It is. It is actually. It's just controlling. They're trying to control people. What's my take on the NDP winning when 65 ballots were lost? Apparently, the election officials took them home. They're not supposed to do that. It's a federal offense. And in fact, our commander-in-chief somebody's going to go down there and pick them up because, see, let me tell you guys a story. David Eby, our premier BC, had made a statement on radio and television, said 2 weeks before the election that he was going to sue the party. He was going to sue the party. His oh my God, who was that talking about here? Wait a minute, just before I forget this part. Yeah. There was actually, who was he talking about then? Yeah, David Eby said he was going to sue the Conservative Party, sue the provincial Conservative Party, and he said he had the people believing that the Conservative Party were evil. And so when he made that threat, he had the public believing that there's something wrong with the Conservatives. David Eby knew how to do this. He's very corrupt. I will say this, I'm calling it to your face, Eby. You are a corrupt man. You're a corrupt politician. You're not somebody that I would ever trust. You found a way to deceive the public. You found a way to deceive Surrey. You found a way to deceive the public, and especially when we already voted that we wanted to have the RCMP in Surrey and not the SPS. But you actually lied to us. You lied to the public. And you said you saw the documents. You didn't see no freaking documents to prove the RCMP are bad. You had no proof. You never seen it because people said that you never even looked at the freaking file when they asked you a question. Even the mainstream media asked you questions, and you went, "Oh, you talked about something else." You changed the story because you knew very well that you and McCallum had a little friendly talk in his office, or he can't talk with you in your office because you're McCallum's little buddy. That's why. So. Anyways, this is what was going on. Eby actually cheated his way out. Number one, those 68,000 votes that went missing, most of them were Conservative votes. I already know that we should have won. The Conservatives, I will say in a minute, I'm a full Conservative. The Conservatives should have won by a landslide. But for some reason, and I will say this, Eby cheated his way out. somehow those 65, and there's more than 65,000, by the way, those ballots. There's more than 65,000. Somebody took them home. All of the ballots, and where'd they all come from? That's a federal offense. The RCMP should be on it right now, and they should go after the people that did it and who they do it in favor of. They have to question the person that did it, but we have to demand a recount, because Eby should never be Premier BC. He is very corrupt. Okay, so what is going to happen now, and will it ever be rectified? Yes, it will be rectified. Let me explain something to you guys, just to give you more of a leeway heads up. We, back in, what year is that now? 2016. There was a meeting with some heads, and our commander-in-chief had made had found these, recreated a new, how do you say this? To work with all the countries. And because we in Canada, as well as in Mexico and the Australia and New Zealand, we're all one country. We all speak the same English, same language. And yet Trump never turned to England. He never turned to the UK to be part of this. He called them foreign. But anyways, I think that was him that said it. But anyways, what I understood, that he did sign, I saw it. I got to find that document again. He signed the document stating that United States, Mexico, Canada, and the Australia and New Zealand have all merged as one country. So now we're all one country. Now, why has Trump for months said we need to put up borders? And why they're letting the people sneak into our country? Well, that I can understand. If Mexico sneaks into here, that's fine, because they're all one country. If it's New Zealand, Australia, yes, they come in here because we're all one country. But what's happened, what Trudeau had done, is he allowed international people from Somalia and other foreign countries that should not have been here. And most of them are terrorists that had done major bad damage in other countries, and they escaped that country and came to our country. Not just our country, but also the United States. So it's the fault of Trudeau. It's the fault of Joe Biden. Fault of Kamala Harris. It's the fault of Chrystia Freeland for allowing them to stay here and hide here. Now, here's the crazy part, and I'm being straight up about this, guys. I met an elder who is from India, and originally he lives here. He's been here for 25 years. He is a citizen of this country. And he said this in his own words. He came to our table, sat with my wife and I, and friends, a friend of mine, and he stood there with us, and he said that he hated the idea of illegal aliens moving to this country that have no right to be here. And suddenly our prime minister is handing them money, and having to do and get paid well, even more. And people lose their jobs, their jobs, like regular people that have been there for the company for years, and they're hiring illegal aliens who don't even have to speak English to work for them and to do what they want them to do and get paid less money. But yet, as soon as they move here to Canada, they are given $25,000 per person to live here. Why is our government handing that out to them, our tax dollars, to illegal citizens who never even made an application to be a citizen of our country? They just came here, and I'm here, right? Just right across the border, because Trudeau let them. Now, why did Trudeau let them? Because you have to see the truth. How foolish you people are for allowing him to get away with this. Okay? And the thing is, you have to fight for your freedom. You have to fight, and you have to make a, I would say, something, and I will say something, you got to make a petition and contact your MPs. And you tell your MPs that you don't want those illegal aliens here, period. And that you also want to contract all your MPs to demand that Justin Trudeau step down from his place, his position as prime minister. You got to put it out there everywhere so then they can bring those MPs to come forward in Parliament and make that statement. You got to create a petition. You want hundreds of thousands of petitions, signed petitions, so then you can stop him from getting away with murder, because he is. Trudeau's gone away with murder. Literally, he's gone away with murder because people have been killed by these illegal aliens as well. And when they say, "Oh, somebody got killed by so and so illegal alien in Canada or United States," and neither politician even said, "Well, I'm so sorry it ever happened." They just walk away and say, "Oh, well, it happened." You know, so that's got to be fixed. We need to fix it, folks. So, like I said, be aware of the EBS, that's going to come, and it's probably the 5th of November. Be aware of it. Remember the 5th of November. It's all going to happen. If you haven't seen the movie, the guy that says it, watch the movie. Watch it. It still has a purpose for you to see. Okay? Watch the movie. It's worth your while to watch. Now, to find where I'm going to be this coming weekend. I'm going to be in Chilliwack. I'm doing a Christmas craft fair. Yay! 3 days. And I'll tell you where I'm going to be at. Hang on 1 second. I'm going to be at the location. If you guys are in the area of Chilliwack, or if you want to come on out to Chilliwack, I'm going to be. Or just right here, back this up. Boom, boom. Okay. I'm going to be at the place called the 10th Annual Christmas Market, November the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from number one, Friday 4 to 9, Saturday and Sunday from 10 until 4. And the address out there is, let's see, where's the address? I'll be at the Sports Landing Center. It's called the Sports Landing Center. Address is 45530 Spadina Avenue in Chilliwack. That's where I'll be all this weekend. If you guys want to come out and see me and have a chat about some of this stuff, come out and see me. You know, it'll be worth your while. Movies, V for Vendetta. The movie's called V for Vendetta. Okay, V for Vendetta. Watch the movie. You can go online and find it and watch it. It's worth your while. If you can't find it, there's a free website on the internet. It's called lookmovie2.to, lookmovie2.to, and /movies, and you can type in the word V for Vendetta. It's free. Watch the movie. It's worth your while, and you'll get a lot of purpose what the movie is all about. It's you'd be surprised what you learn from it. And I watched them a few years back and going like, I should see this again. Should we turn off our computers? No, I wouldn't turn them off. They're not going to hack you. V for Vendetta. That's the movie. Let's see here. And also, like I said before, this coming weekend, I'll be at the Christmas Craft Fair, 10th Annual Christmas Market. I'll be there in Chilliwack this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. But if you're in the area, come out and see me. I'll be out there selling my wares at the Sports Landing Center. And you can always go on my page on Facebook to find me there. Look movie number 2 not .co. It's .let's hang on a second just to be this correct. It is, sorry, take it back. You're right, correct. Look movie 2.to, not co, T-O, T as in T-O, /movies. Okay. And you can find it there. And what you do is, I'll show you something. I'll show you guys a little trick. Give me a second here. I'm going to show you a trick. Okay. Let's do something here. Now we're on the page now. We're actually on Look Movies. And so I'm going to type in the word V for Vendetta. Okay, up there you see it, and there's a list right there. Okay, this is the movie right here. Now, here's how you follow through step by step. So if I'm going to play it, I click on that mark there, and then you hit the word "I'm not a robot." Okay, then you wait for the counter on the top right corner. You see the 765432110. You just wait for the counter. Wait for it to go as seconds, and then finish to 0. You click on the X in the corner, and now you're ready to play. You just click on this, and there you are. Just hit the full screen. When you click on this, you hit the full screen. Hit a full screen, and you're ready to start. Okay, so it's worth your while to watch this movie. It's 2 hours and 11 minutes, or 12 minutes. It's worthwhile to watch. You'd be surprised what it can do. Okay. I recommend it. Anyways, anything else? Let's see. I think we're good for this weekend. But guys, have a great time. As of next week, next Thursday will be, I might do a special show. Yeah, the 5th goes into a Tuesday. So if we're not losing internet, I will come back in and we'll probably do a special this Tuesday night and see what happens on the 5th of November. I'll do a special, guys. So to keep your calendar open, if by some chance you do see me coming in on Tuesday night on the 5th of November, do a special at 7 o'clock. And we'll see what happens. See how the presidential thing goes, or if it doesn't happen, or if we do have a little bit of a problem with the internet service or a blackout or a cyber attack. We never know. Anything you never know. We're going to find out sooner or later, right? We're almost that close to find out where we are. It's almost over, guys. I'm so like, oh, come on. Let's get this life going on. Right? Anyways, be good to each other, guys. And if you want to find me also, I'm also on Telegram. Let me show you guys where I am on Telegram so you get a better idea. Okay, here's my page on Telegram. It's called The True North, Strong and Free. This is where I am. There's my page right there. That's mine. Okay. And you can see the tag. Join it. It's worth your while. You get to see all the cool things that are in there. There's people that will place all their stuff in there that'll help you. If you want to let you know what's going on. Now, it says elections. Oh, yeah, I forgot this piece here. Elections BC allows staff to take ballots home during advanced voting week. Why? Oops. Okay. So it says here, briefly, Elections BC spokesperson said ballots and other documents were stored off-site during the advanced voting week, including at the homes of Elections BC officials. Several security measures were in place to protect the electoral integrity. When BC's early voting polls closed at night, did you know where your ballot was? Elections BC reported a record of more than 1 million people voted in advance between October the 10th and the 16th. 1 million, guys. Look at that. A member of one candidate's team showed, it's called the Breaker.News, correspondence with Election BC local official about a case of unmarked ballots being taken home for safekeeping. The candidate asked not to be identified. Candidate, guess what? You can be identified because you actually broke the law. That's a federal offense, folks. Look at it. Federal offense. You screwed yourself, buddies. You weren't supposed to take those ballots home. That's illegal. They're supposed to be placed into a safe. Did you know that? It's like money. Those ballots are supposed to be placed into a safe. And normally they're taken to a post office to be put into a safe when there is an election. Did you know that? I did. That's what scrutineers are supposed to do. You're supposed to take your ballots to a post office and they put it into a safe until the next day. They're not supposed to go to your home. That is the law. That is a federal freaking law. And they should know better themselves. That person did not want to be identified because he knows he's in trouble. Okay? He knows he's in trouble. Look. What does that show you? This man's in trouble. Okay? So Breaker News told the story, shared the story. So Elections BC reject. Okay, here we go. Let's go right about here. Elections BC Guide to Voting and Counting contains section on procedures for the end of each day at the advanced voting. It says to ensure the official record of the votes is kept secure, ballots cast will be transferred from their original ballot box to transfer ballot box that is sealed and labeled with the voting place name, date, and tabulator identification. The transfer ballot box will be stored off-site at the district electoral office or the home of voting place supervisor, the manual said. No, that's wrong. It's illegal. Scrutineers are encouraged to observe the process. The David Eby led NDP won 46 seats out on October 19th, one more than John Rustad's Conservatives, but one shy of a majority. The Elections BC final count is scheduled for October 26, 2028, with some 65,000 mail-ins and absentee ballots to be counted around the province. Automatic recounts will take place in Surrey City Centre and Wanfuka Malahat, where NDP candidates won by fewer than 100 votes. Elections BC reject requests for recounts at 1 Green and 3 NDP candidates, and one of those was Surrey Guildford NDP runner-up Gary Begg. On October the 24th, Larry to Begg from District Electoral Office Rana Malhi said Begg provided no evidence of ballot counting errors. So there's scruples here, folks. This is screwy. I strongly believe, look at this, 1 million ballots were missing, not just 65,000. 1 million ballots. Give me a break. Now, like I said before, if you want to if you ever guys are not on Telegram, download Telegram. It's worth your while. This is where I am. This is who I am right in here. Derek White Sky Cloud. And then once you join it, and then you can find me, and then I can send you guys to the page, what I'm doing. And I have my page called True North Strong and Free. I've had this for a few years now. And this is my logo. You can't miss my logo. Oops. Can't miss my logo in here. So, and then you can see all the stories that people share for everyone to see. It's worth your while, right? I mean, look at this. Be sure to check your kids' candy this Halloween. Just found a huge piece of in this candy bar. Did you see that? Did you see that? What? Oh my goodness. But you'll find out. It's worth your while to get, folks, because Telegram is free speech. It's not the same as everybody else. It's free speech. You don't have to worry about a Facebook, and this is not our, we're not allowed to do this or say that. It's not like anybody else. I'm also on Rumble. So after this whole show's over, I just transfer the recording over, put on Rumble, and then I create a Rumble page also as well. And my Rumble page, I'll show you that too. Where we go on my Rumble. Let's get ready to Rumble. Okay, let's go over here. GR Rumble. This is where I am. Come on, guys. This is my content. Okay, this is who I am in here. These are all listings of all my shows. So if you want to find me in here, there's lots to see. Just look for me. White Sky Cloud 1. Hashtag White Sky Cloud 1. You can't miss me. Or should say at. And this is all the shows that I've been doing, recording for a long, long time. So everyone gets an opportunity to see what I have available. Oh, I didn't transfer that. You guys see it. Hang on. Go back again. Come back again, Derek. Do this. Okay, let's just start it again. Let's do this one more time because you guys missed it. You missed it. I didn't transfer it over for you to look at it. Hang on again. One more time. There we go. Rumble. This is me in here. Okay. Oops. Okay. So I'll try it again. My content. And there you go. It's all in there. My stuff. You can't miss it. Again, type in at White Sky Cloud 1. That's who I am. Or you want to type in the word Shadow Chasing Show. You'll find that. And it has every week I've got something in there. So there's always something you can, and also make a comment. Love to hear from you guys. If you want to make a comment, it's worth your while. So like and share as much as you can. Please like and share my YouTube, like and share on my Rumble, and join, be part of it. You'll get more information coming out of Telegram and Rumble than anywhere else, because at least nobody criticizes you. Like you have full control of what you have. Will the current sites such as Rumble, Telegram, etc., will be around after the coming changes? Yes. In fact, Rumble actually, Telegram actually is owned by the military. So they have full control. That'll never go down. None. They won't never go down. So you guys be fine. Irons Geisha, hey, how's it going? So yeah, you guys good. Jesse, nice to see you too. So we're good. Yeah. Anyways, guys, it's wonderful to have you guys on. Thank you. I hope you guys are able to help you. What's happening this coming week? Remember the 5th of November. Boom. Watch. Like I said, that's why I made this banner. These are all this whole banner has a purpose and gives you codes, shows you what's going on, what to expect. It's coming up, right? Not a bad thing. It's a good thing. We're all going to do fine. We just have to be aware and be aware of it and not to lose sleep over it. It's a wonderful thing. I'm looking forward to seeing, oh my God, I can believe it. Things are going to really do well for all of us. I mean, I'm so excited. I'm going like, oh, when's this thing going to be over? There's more shows to talk about. We'll find out after the 5th. We'll find out, right? So be good to each other, guys. We'll talk to you guys next week. In the meantime, I'm going to send you guys away. And this song, okay, is important.
Everyone lives, everyone
take care. May God be with you guys.
Everyone loves, everyone cries. Round the world we're all alike. So why is there war? Why do we fight? There's one sea, one sky, one earth. So you and I gotta learn to live together. When one hurts, when one needs, we always gotta learn to live together. Peace, make peace, make peace, peace. All right. Is any time when the stars die? Isn't it time not to stop crying? Stop the fighting and the hate. We gotta make peace before it's too late. There's one sea, one sky, one earth. So you and I gotta learn to live together. When one hurts, when one needs, we gotta learn to live together. Peace, in peace. alright. Baby,